What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, we're going to talk a little Mikey Garcia, WBC lightweight champion, and the fact that he's about to meet Mauricio Suleiman and make up his mind about what he's going to do with that 135-pound belt. My opinion, the time that he has held that WBC lightweight belt has been a complete waste of time for the lightweight division. And I've always been very critical of Mikey Garcia jumping up and down in weight classes and the way that he's moved his career since he's came back and moved to the PBC. And it's just time, man, for them to just either Mikey Garcia needs to give up that belt or Mikey Garcia needs to be stripped ASAP, as soon as possible. And I'm going to get into why I think that in a second. But before I do, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell icon. And then you'll be notified of when we release more videos. Also, check us out in the live streams we do every day, Monday through Friday in the mornings. Also, when we do, check out the Patreon. We also have a new series, Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. OG Boxing Talk with Blood Boxing and Fanon. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And we're going to have another panelist on for every show. Now, Mikey Garcia is the WBC champion. He won that belt back in January of 2017. It is now April of 2019. And Mikey Garcia has defended that belt one time against Robert Easter in a unification bout for the IBF title. After he defended it one time, he moves up and loses to Errol Spence Jr. He has been the WBC 135-pound champion for 2 years with one title defense. He was, I do believe, the IBF 140-pound champion. I think that was the IBF belt that he beat Sergey Lipinets for, and never defended it, dropped it as soon as he got it. So he dropped the IBF belt for 135 pounds. He dropped the IBF belt for 140 pounds. And he's defended the WBC lightweight belt one time in 2 years. I know that boxing's the sanctioning fees and big name fighters are important to promoters. I know they're important to commissions, but from a boxing fan's perspective, and that's what this channel is, I'm a boxing fan. I don't consider myself to be a media guy. I definitely don't consider myself to be a promoter, not a trainer. I'm a boxing fan. And for me, I want to see who the best in a particular division is. Mikey Garcia set a goal for himself, which for me sounds like one of the most odd goals, which was to be the fastest person to win belts in 4 divisions in 11 months. But, I was like, what kind of goal is that, man? Why don't you unify 135 pounds? How about we start there? How about you fight and win the IBF title, then you fight and somebody and fight the win the WBA title, and then you fight somebody and get the WBO title, become the unified champion at 135 pounds. And that way we can know who the champion at 135 pounds is. But that's not what Mikey Garcia wanted to do. Mikey Garcia wanted to jump around, and I'm telling you, this is not going to sound good to some Mikey Garcia fans, but I'm saying it. Mikey Garcia wanted to jump around and cherry pick guys at different weight classes to see how many belts he could cherry pick. And cherry pick, I'm not saying that Sergey Lipinets isn't a good fighter. Sergey Lipinets is a good fighter. He showed that he was a good fighter when he moved up to 147 pounds and beat Lamont Peterson. But he wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the strongest champion at 140 pounds. There's other champions at 135 pounds, namely at the time that he moved up, the WBO 135-pound champion, who was Vasyl Lomachenko. That's a challenging fight. Jorge Linares might have been a challenging fight, even though I think he would have probably wound up knocking out Jorge Linares. But all those type of fights that could have happened for Mikey Garcia, then now Mikey Garcia isn't going to do that. More than likely, he's not going to do it. More than likely, he's going to go to 140 pounds. He got all the way up to walking into the ring at 150. I think he was 152 pounds at the weigh-in. The next day, weigh 153 pounds at the next day weigh-in for the Errol Spence Jr. fight. Right, he came in weighing 146. I think, it was like 152, 153 the next day. So he probably walked into the ring weighing 155 pounds. It's gonna, I don't see him going back down to 135 pounds, but what I don't want to see happen is him keep that 135 pound belt, but then just fight at 140 pounds. Or fight the 135 pound title, but then fight at a catch weight, something like that. Let's just get closer to who the best at 135 pounds is, just flat out. And Mikey Garcia needs to either give that belt up now, or he needs to be stripped, because there are other guys at 135 pounds that can fight for that title, who can represent the WBC and who would be seriously in the running to try to be not just in the running from their skill set, but be in the running from their intention, based on their intentions, to be the best 135 pounder in the world, man. You've got guys like Teofimo Lopez who are coming up. You even got that guy from Matchroom Boxing, Luke Campbell. You have Robert Easter Jr. is not rematching, but he's fighting Ramses Bartholomew in, I think that's going to be in July, and I can't remember where that fight's going to be. I think that fight might be in LA or Vegas, but regardless, Robert Easter Jr., Ramses Bartholomew, there's a bunch of guys at lightweight that would fight at lightweight and absolutely try to become the best guy at lightweight. And that's what I think that boxing fans need. Mikey Garcia is going to move up there to 140 pounds. And what's going to happen based on his past record? What's going to happen at 140 pounds? More than likely, he's going to try to fight somebody that he thinks he can beat. And the people that might cause him problems, he's going to wait to see if they have some type of weakness to him, just like he did with Robert Easter Jr. And I know this is harsh criticism, but it's the truth. Robert Easter Jr. wanted to fight Mikey Garcia before he had the Denis Shafikov fight, definitely before he had the Javier Fortuna fight, and then Mikey was like, oh man, he looks a little vulnerable. And then Mikey Garcia moved back down to fight him. He could have fought Robert Easter Jr. before he fought Sergey Lipinets, right? So is he going to fight Regis Prograis, right? Is he going to fight Josh Taylor? Is he going to fight Baranachek? Is he going to fight Jose Ramirez? Jose Ramirez, I do believe, is a top-ranked fighter. I think the easiest fight for him to get, I guess Baranachek, got to figure out who's going to win those two fights. Is it going to be Baranachek or Josh Taylor in the World Boxing Super Series, or is it going to be Regis Prograis or Kylie Relic, right? I think they're fighting, who's going to come out of that one? But if the history is any indication of what's going to happen in the past, Mikey's not going to try to unify that belt, man. He's just going to take a belt, sit on it until he can find, a quote unquote, bigger money fight. The irony of this thing, though, man, is that if Mikey Garcia had beaten Errol Spence Jr., which he didn't, and wow, he didn't. I can't. He's doing a straight up where's Walt, like my man Black Fight Fan TV said. He's doing a straight up where's Waldo type of move right now. But if he had, man, he'd been fighting Manny Pacquiao, something like that, man. He's clearly in it, and I can respect that from a like I said, I can respect that from, if I was his manager or if I'm a promoter, but I'm not that. I'm a fan. I can clearly see that the cat he's out there looking for the biggest paydays. I say, hey man, what I'd like to see Mikey Garcia do, if at all possible, fight at 135 pounds, man. Stay at 135 pounds. Defend your WBC belt. Defend your WBC belt against a mandatory, which he hasn't done in 2 years. Held 2 belts, never touched a mandatory in 2 years. Never fought a mandatory for his WBC belt, for his WBC lightweight belt. Never touched a mandatory for his IBF 135 pound belt. Never touched a mandatory for his 140 pound IBF belt. Fight a mandatory. Anyway, it is what it is. But what the WBC is going to do. The WBC is going to let that man hold on to that belt. or give him a title fight as soon as he gets to 140 pounds. But anyway, we'll see what he has left in the tank too, because hey man, he took a serious walloping in that Spence fight. And it is what it is, and with that, I'm out. Peace.